I agree with Shirer. Solid points. The amount of Bitcoin not moved is staggering. Like, who would benefit from not moving that much money? Yeah, what? Why? The creator of Bitcoin might be an agency like the CIA, which needs anonymous ways to move money for their black projects. It has to be. It has to be. So why hasn't they been paying off the black projects with the Bitcoin? I don't understand. Found it. The original whistleblower for the NSA. And I'm going to say an interesting hypothesis about who the creator of Bitcoin is, okay? Who the creator of Bitcoin is. So who is the creator? No. Why were computers invented? Computers were invented, or the first computer was made by Alexander Turing, arguably, to break the Enigma code that Germany had. So this was a military operation to decrypt communications. And the internet was created by, I believe, the US military to send secure information, or I don't know. The internet was created, I believe, by the US military as a secure method of communication. Now, Satoshi Nakamoto is the Japanese guy who created Bitcoin. But if you look at what he has, he would theoretically be a billionaire at one point when Bitcoin was high. He would have been a billionaire. So this is like, he didn't do anything with that. He didn't touch those funds. And how can one person create Bitcoin without without it crashing and burning? This would have taken so much time. Um, and now this guy's saying, I personally believe that, well, this is not him. I am saying, Reminiscible is saying, I believe most black market transactions come from US intelligence agencies, or at least most North American black market transactions come from US intelligence agencies and the US military. Like all of that, the revolving door of the deep state is responsible for so much, like just illegal payoffs, and because that's how power is held in the military. Why do you think the military keeps asking for higher and higher budgets? It's because in order to keep the keys of powers, as CGP Grey pointed out, you need to pay off your subordinates in an authoritarian uh, dictatorship, and even in a democracy, you need to pay off your subordinates, or they might just kill you. So in the deep state, in intelligence agencies, in the military, there needs to be a way to anonymously transfer large sums of money in order to bribe your subordinates. Otherwise, you can be toppled, your position of power can be taken away from you. That's obviously if the military were a democracy, or if intelligence agencies were a democracy, then you could just have like voting to elect people. But since they're not, since everybody's appointed and such, then it's not democratic. Money needs to flow if in order to maintain the power structure, and so that's why you have all this revolving door, uh, like payoffs to people in the deep state, because of the power structure. And I recommend, if you disagree, at least watch this video, Rules for Rulers, and there's a follow-up video. All right, part 1 and 2. So I believe this guy's right. I believe this guy has a good point, because if it was one guy, wouldn't he have just cashed out and be living a fortune? Why is now, was this guy a whistleblower? Was this guy a whistleblower in the military, a whistleblower in the CIA, as in the FBI, as this guy points out? Like, this is just like Thin Thread, okay? Bill Binney was the first whistleblower. This is how I started out the video. I forgot to talk. So Bill Binney was the first whistleblower, right? Um, there was a nice interview with Bill Binney, right? NSA debunks this. Is it? Yeah, this interview, first like 20 seconds, he talks about Thin Thread, which was before. What did they use before? Before they had like Heartbeat and Prism and Stellar Wind and I don't Key Score. Like, I don't know what all these shitty programs and policies are, but before that they had Thin Thread, which was required oversight, right? You needed like a warrant or something to. Did you need a warrant to search through people's data? Anyways, Thin Thread was like supervised spying, and then they invented, what was it? Heartbeat, Stellar Wind, whatever the NSA uses now. Spying on people is completely anonymous. You don't know who's spying on you. You don't know who's getting that data. Okay, so that was the improvement that the NSA made, because the purpose of the NSA is not national security, obviously. The purpose of the NSA is to make money off of knowing the economy, knowing the global economy. That's why they collect all this data and they spy on everyone instead of just terrorists. So, yeah, that's, oh, Prism. So did they replace Thin Thread with Prism? That's probably it. And the creator of Thin Thread got a lot of hate for saying, yeah, Prism is just a piece of junk because it's completely anonymous. You can't see who was spying. You can't see who was doing the spying. With Thin Thread, you could see who was doing the spying. So if someone's looking at stuff, if someone's spying on the president or the vice president or the head of some company instead of spying on terrorists, then you could tell who it was. But with Prism, you'd never know who was doing the spying. It's completely anonymous. So I think Satoshi Nakamoto created. I think Satoshi Nakamoto might be. No, I think Satoshi Nakamoto is definitely a whistleblower from either the CIA, the FBI, or the military, or who worked with the military under the CIA or FBI as part of a team to develop Bitcoin. And I think he leaked the technology to the public because it was going to be used for the black market revolving door transactions that the military uses to maintain the power base, to maintain the power structure of the military, of the intelligence agencies, of the deep state, of the strongest ruling power in the world after, obviously, the people. Because obviously, if you tell someone to go to war and the people say we don't want to shoot anyone, then there's no war. If you tell somebody that Russians are bad and everybody's like, I don't want to go with war with Russia, then there's no war with Russia. But um, if all the policy and laws are being passed down from the deep state and the bought out politicians who worship their lobbyists come and the companies that they get the lobbyist money from, which is because bribery is now legal in America, then I forget what my point was. Then I think this guy is probably Satoshi Nakamoto, probably a whistleblower from the team that developed Bitcoin, and that Bitcoin was never supposed to be released to the public. Bitcoin was never supposed to be a decentralized platform. Bitcoin was supposed to be like the internet, a secure deep state mechanism for bribing people in the deep state, in the military, in the intelligence agencies in order to keep the keys of power. Bitcoin was never meant to be released to the public, and now the backlash against Bitcoin from the media, from whoever pays off the media, which would be intelligence agencies, because we know CIA has contracts with all the major cable news networks in North America, or um, at least in America. Um, so we know media is bought off by the CIA and the corporations. Then the huge backlash against Bitcoin is probably because CIA knows the full extent of how much power Bitcoin has to decentralize the economy. Bitcoin Bitcoin could potentially topple the monopoly that Wall Street has over currency, topple the monopoly that the military has over the petrodollar, um, topple the effect of wartime economic sanctions and asset forfeiture. Bitcoin surpasses that. And now we have similar technology, but would that similar technology even exist without the open source documentation and source code of Bitcoin being released to the public? There is no way, I don't think one man could have developed something as sophisticated as Bitcoin. Now, there's more sophisticated stuff than Bitcoin out there, but that came because people had access to the source code of Bitcoin. Bitcoin was the revolution in blockchain technology. Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency, and it was extremely high-end quality. So I think it was never meant to be made public. I think it was meant to be used by the deep state to bribe other members of the deep state anonymously and pay off members of the deep state anonymously to get past the legalities of bribing other people. And I think that explains why the first uh, blocks mined by Satoshi Nakamoto were not withdrawn. Um, and if Satoshi Nakamoto is actually a whistleblower, um, he might be dead, because that's what happens to whistleblowers. So that's, I think, the origin of blockchain technology as we know it. I think actually I'm completely wrong. What this guy says, high probability Bitcoin is a USA funded secret project. So let's talk about psychology. So let's say Satoshi Nakamoto is a whistleblower. Why hasn't he revealed any corruption? This guy is a billionaire if Bitcoin is considered a currency. He could, why is he not touching that? What happened to like power corrupts absolutely? Like it's almost impossible to find someone who's not corrupted by power. Why would he not cash in? Does he think it's going to rise? I don't think so. Why he would have touched the money if he was planning to cash in, right? Is he waiting? Is he he's already been identified by intelligence agencies, or by, what is it, the FBI? So what is he waiting for? Why is he not touching the money? Because he's mined. If he was doing it for the good of mankind, then he wouldn't be holding on to billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin, right? I, it doesn't. Why is this all just sitting there? Who's going to reap the benefits? I don't understand. He cannot be a whistleblower. I am wrong. So yeah, who benefits from this? I I like yeah, is this is he waiting for like the US economy to collapse? And if so, how does he know? Is there something going on? The FBI has identified him, so clearly now they have some sort of agreement or disagreement with him. It just makes sense that Satoshi Nakamoto is an alias for someone in the deep state and like a group, I don't know, a programming team. Like this is a product that was made by the deep state. Intelligence agencies know more about the global economy than anyone. They probably know that the US dollar is going to collapse. They, because of petrodollar, and they like, yeah, I don't. This feels like a scam. Damn. After I invested so much in Bitcoin, this is like people say, oh, they're gonna crash. Like sellers are gonna crash Bitcoin to show you can't like go decentralized. You have to stay with the banks or whatever. I don't. I don't think that's the big story here. I think it's a U.S. intelligence agency predicting that the US economy is going to collapse and just they're they're gonna make their money off of Satoshi Nakamoto. I don't know what's happening.